Welcome to The Explainer. So, have you ever felt kind of overwhelmed on your spiritual path? You know, that feeling like you're just not doing enough, or maybe you're not getting it right. Well, today, we're going to look at a super simple analogy that can totally reframe that pressure and turn it into something that feels more like a clear, manageable path forward. All right, let's just jump right in with a little thought experiment. Picture this. You walk into a first grade classroom, right? And you've got this super complex algebra problem that's meant for a high school senior. Would it be fair to ask those little kids to solve it? No way, of course not. It would just be a huge, unnecessary burden on a mind that, just isn't there yet. Okay, but here's where it's really interesting. It's how one specific question can tell you so much about these different stages of understanding. So, let's take a question that seems simple on the surface, but it's got layers. What is 6 minus 9? So a first grader, thinking from their world, would totally say, you can't do that. And you know what? They're right. If you only have 6 apples, how in the world can you give someone 9? Their logic is, it's flawless for their framework. But a high schooler, well, they've been introduced to this whole new concept of negative numbers, so they'll just confidently say -3. So here's the big question. Who's actually right? And the answer is, they both are. See, both of them are smart, and both are giving the absolute correct answer based on the level of knowledge they have right now. This isn't about being smart or dumb, it's just about being at different stages of awareness. That's it. And this whole school analogy, it just maps perfectly onto our spiritual lives. I mean, think about it. We're all at different grade levels on our faith journey, aren't we? Some of us might be in spiritual kindergarten, just figuring things out, while others are maybe working on their university-level thesis. This brings us to a really comforting idea from the source material. God meets you exactly where you are. He doesn't judge you based on a grade you haven't reached yet. It's like he wouldn't hand a first grader in faith a spiritual problem that takes a high schooler level of understanding to even begin to solve. And these different stages aren't just some abstract theory, they actually show up in how we behave. Someone at a more, let's say, elementary level might attack an idea they don't get. They might even call it ignorant. But someone at a more advanced stage, they don't mock or belittle. No, they try and understand, and they guide gently. Why? Because they remember what it felt like to be in that earlier grade. Okay, so if we're all at different grades, what's religion supposed to feel like? This is a huge question, and the source points to this beautiful core principle. Faith is meant to be a source of ease, not a source of pressure or hardship. Ease. This quote really gets to the heart of it all. Just look at the key words here. Purify and complete his favor. The whole point isn't difficulty for the sake of being difficult. It's about a process of refinement, a process that ultimately leads to gratitude, not to stress. And here it is again, spelled out even more clearly. The whole design of religion isn't meant to be some kind of difficult obstacle course. So if your faith feels like a constant struggle, this is a huge sign that maybe, just maybe, it's time to reevaluate how you're approaching it. All right, let's get practical for a minute. What do you actually do when you come across a religious teaching that feels, well, difficult or pressuring, or it just doesn't sit right with you? What's the move? Well, the source gives us a really helpful 3-step process. First, you ask, is this information even correct? Or is it just a cultural myth that's been passed out? Step 2, okay, maybe it's correct, but is it being widely misunderstood or misapplied by people? And then step 3, what if it's correct and it's understood correctly, but it's just not for my current stage? It's that high school algebra problem, and right now you're in first grade, and that's okay. And this brings us to the most crucial point of all. If a teaching is causing you distress or feels like a heavy burden, it is not for you right now. You literally have permission to just put it on a shelf, put it aside. You can focus on the teachings that actually nurture your connection, the ones that bring you peace. That's what allows you to grow naturally. So where does this all lead? What's the big takeaway? It's all about embracing this freedom to grow at your own pace. It's about building a direct, personal relationship with the divine. Look, this journey is yours and yours alone. The way forward isn't by forcing yourself through lessons that feel heavy and difficult. It's by watering the parts of your faith that bring you genuine comfort and joy. You have to trust that this positive connection is the very thing that will naturally raise your awareness. And then one day, you'll look back and realize that the high school algebra that once seemed totally impossible, well, now it feels like simple arithmetic. And that leaves us with one final, really powerful thought to chew on. The real shift here isn't just about moving from one stage to the next, it's about changing how you learn, moving away from only relying on what other people say and moving toward building your own personal direct line to the divine. So the question is, are you just learning about God from others, or are you truly seeking to know Him for yourself?